Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Nikki. I'm usually just a dude chilling in Boston, reading, baking, and making videos about my life and my interests. But actually these past 2 weeks I was just a dude chilling in Europe. I just got back from a 2-week trip to Amsterdam and Berlin with my parents, and I wanted to share some of the things that I acquired while I was over there. I did a lot of book shopping and souvenir shopping for my friends alongside all of the museums and sightseeing and eating good foods. I'm gonna start with the books because I feel like that's probably the most interesting part of this. Basically, over the last couple of months leading up to my trip, I started jotting down books that interested me, different European releases and authors. I found everything on my list, so I'm really happy. First bookstore I went to in Berlin was called Dussmann das Kulturkaufhaus. But several books from there. The first one being Gunk by Saba Sams, which is a really great cover. Yeah, it kind of explores queer parenthood. It's kind of like a later in life coming of age story, so it sounded pretty appealing to me, and I'm almost halfway through and I'm enjoying it so far. Also from that bookstore, I picked up Siblings by Bridget Raymond. This is kind of like a modern classic that is about two siblings living in a pre-unification Berlin. A nice souvenir from Berlin to get a book by a German author that takes place in Berlin. Small Boat by Vincent Delacroix, longlisted for the International Booker, and it's not available in the US yet as far as I know. I was drawn to this book because it seems to blur the lines between nonfiction and fiction, which I was interested in. It's about this boat of 27 migrants crossing the English Channel from France to England, and they kind of get stranded. It's told from the perspective of a Coast Guard who is involved in this situation because neither country really wants to claim these migrants. Hagstone by Sinead Gleason. This book is about an artist named Nell who is living on a really remote island. She is commissioned by this really reclusive convent called the Inyons, who live on the island as well. Commissioned by them to kind of create a historical log of their group. I actually did finish this already, so I'll probably be talking about this more in my next reading wrap-up, so I'll just leave it at that. Also in Berlin, I visited a bookstore called She Said, which is a feminist queer bookstore. I picked up one book from there. This is Cool for You by Eileen Miles, who is an author I've never heard of before I saw this book at She Said, but Eileen Miles was actually born and raised in the Boston area, I think in Cambridge, and I also chatted with the bookseller and they had read this and enjoyed it, so cool. And then in Amsterdam, I went to one bookstore and picked up the last two books on my list. Amma by Sarah De Silva, which was longlisted for the Women's Prize, and it seems to be about a family from Sri Lanka, and it follows multiple different perspectives from the family, and I think there's some themes about queerness and family trauma and stuff like that. And then lastly, from that same bookstore, I got Dolores by Lauren Amy Curtis. This is a young girl who enters a convent, and she's also pregnant. Next up, I'm gonna move on to the souvenirs and trinkets, and a lot of these are gifts for friends, so if you're a friend and don't want the surprise to be spoiled, then you might wanna, stop watching. Okay, first thing is this Brachiosaurus t-shirt I got for myself at the Museum of Natural History in Berlin. They actually had the tallest mounted dinosaur fossil in the world, and the Brachiosaurus fossil. Also from the Museum of Natural History, I got a magnet of the Brachiosaurus skull for a friend, and I also got a pin of Archaeopteryx because that museum has one of the most well-preserved examples and complete examples of an Archaeopteryx. That fossil actually like started the questioning of whether there's some link between birds and dinosaurs because of like the feathers and the structure of the skeleton. I thought that would be a cool gift for someone. For myself, I got a little keychain of Miffy wearing a dress inspired by Dutch artist Piet Mondrian. Check her out. I got a bunch of magnets from the Miffy store. This one is for some friends. This one is for myself. This cute one of Miffy holding the Netherlands flag is also for a friend. When I was walking along Waterloo Plain in Amsterdam, I found an entirely cat supply store. It was like a candy store for kittens. So I got Kashi a bunch of stuff. I got her one of these catnip balls that you can like mount onto a wall and then they can rub their face on them. I asked the person working there, if they had any like recommendations or like what were the best seller toys of the store. She recommended this guy, which is like a multi-textural experience, but I believe the stick is silver vine, which cats are attracted to. The person working there also said these rattan balls with bells in them were really popular, and as soon as I gave it to Kashi, like the last couple days, she's been really into this. She'll just be chasing it around my apartment by herself. Of course, you can never have too many little mice toys for your kittens. There's this artist who creates little miniature mouse scenes for their children's books, and their books are called Sam and Julia, and I got this baker mouse for a friend. I got this from one of the museum gift stores in Amsterdam. This is like an art magazine called Motormond. It says that Motormond is a Black queer institution circulating critical pan-diasporic culture. That's it. And I think they're actually based in Amsterdam, but this is published in English, so my friend can enjoy it. From the Rijksmuseum, I got myself a set of blank greeting cards that feature different cats and dogs from the different paintings in the museum. I always like to have blank greeting cards for when it's like someone's birthday, and then you don't have to remember to go pick up a card. You can just be prepared. I did actually get several other postcards. You can like write a little message about your trip to your friends on the back, and then they can also have like a tiny piece of art to hang up afterwards. I guess Miffy knows Kashi because it looked like a little army of Miffys. I think they're going to school. There was a modern contemporary photography museum in Berlin called Fotografiska. They had posters of this hamburger cat all over the city. This museum was already on my list, but this just like really sold me to go check out this exhibit. So I got a postcard of that for a friend because it's just so cute. These are 2 postcards of some of the like miniature scenes from Sam and Julia. I was able to visit the Bauhaus temporary archive because the permanent archive is under construction and will be for several years, I think. But they had a store and temporary archive, and I got a couple of postcards from there to give to friends, as well as a magnet. That's pretty much it. I had a really great trip. I have also been thinking about making a separate video about how I planned this trip because it was the largest trip I've ever planned as a wheelchair user, and it was international, which is I think quite the feat. You might see that at some point. Keep an eye out, I guess, if I decide to make it. I think my next video will probably be my like spring reading wrap up, so you can look forward to that. And yeah, I hope you have a good day. See ya.